I'll quote Jim Valvano, if you know who who he is.
Of course.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up, because you don't know what's coming tomorrow. That's number one. Number two, you got to do 3 things every day: laugh, love, and cry. And I've done everything. Believe me, I have.
But it's holding on when it feels like all is falling. How do I reach out when I feel I'm all alone? When I feel all alone. How do I move on when you're the one I put my trust in? All you require me is only just believe, just believe, just believe. I'm covered by your grace again. All washed up and cleansed from sin. No longer will the devil win. You've gave me victory.
Welcome to the Art of Rebounding, where setbacks become setups and your bounce back is your breakthrough. I'm your host, Harold Lefty Williams, former pro athlete, motivator, and believer in second chances. Each week, we'll dive deep into stories and strategies built on positioning, persistence, and purpose to help you rise, rebuild, and reclaim your next chapter. Now, this isn't just a regular podcast. This is your permission to rise again, and this time with purpose. This episode is so special to me. It's very dear to me because I have a very, very close friend and brother. This is my brother. He is an engineer by trade, but he is an amazing person and has an amazing heart. And we'll get in and dive into all of this. But I'm excited about this episode. Call somebody, text somebody, share this episode, tell somebody you need to see this episode. I'm thinking of calling it Stand with Stan. I'm not sure yet. So if it's different when you see it, it's because I changed my mind. But as of right now, I like it a lot. So listen, please welcome to the show, Stan Zwicker. Zwick.
It's Zwicker.
Zwicker.
That's the end of the alphabet.
I had it right before we started.
That's okay.
Listen. First of all, thank you so much for being on the show with me.
My pleasure, Lefty.
Yeah, you mean so much to me. I think you know, but then sometimes I think you don't. Obviously the show is about positioning, right? You had to position yourself a lot. Let's take it back because you're an East Coaster like me. I love it. Let's talk the beginning. How did you know that this was the field for you? And then we'll pause there and then we'll dive into some other things. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm 85 years old, so I'm a generation ahead of you.
Yes.
I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood, a place called Parkchester in the East Bronx. This was a first planned community. And we had, we were comfortable, but we weren't wealthy or rich or anything like that. But the most important thing in my life was we had my father and my mother. I always tear up when they're gone, This community was such that, when I started school, I learned that I liked math and I liked science, and I liked doing my math, do my science, and then wind up, what career can you have? You want to be a teacher? No. And this was kind of in the late 50s, early 60s. Go to school, be an engineer, and that worked pretty good. One of the things that I've always liked about all of this is that I'm a big sports fan, always have been. And never was a great basketball player, but I had a lot of fun at it. And I thought I tried to do the best I could. And one of the things I remember recently, just things come back in your mind when you're as old as I am. There was no organized basketball in Parkchester. We had open courts on a park in the street, and we'd go down there after school and play till our mothers yelled at us from the windows to come on in and put your shirt back on, because we did skins and shirts.
I remember the street lights coming on. You had to be in the house,
Yeah. So what I remember, one of the teachers in my elementary school, which was PS 106 in the Bronx, give them a nod because one of the teachers decided he was going to have an after-school basketball league, you know, and he was the first coach I ever had in basketball. And he looked at my skills. He says, "Hey, you move good. You're a pretty good defender. You can't shoot worth a damn." He says, "But then it was about fifth or sixth grade. So I was a pretty big kid at that time, about 5'8", 5'9", and with kids basketball, that was pretty good, you know. So I played forward. Today, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? But I remember one thing he said that stuck with me through life. He says, "Rebounding, that's the key to success." And he says, if you want to get a jump on your life and do a rebound, he says, the first thing you got to do is remember when the shot goes up, the other guys are going to stand and watch the shot. You go for the ball where you think it's going to be. Take a half second to a second leap, and you're going to be a good rebounder.
I love it.
I don't know if you ever heard that from Mark.
I love it. Yeah.
He was right, you know, and I had pretty good, and, you know, and then ultimately, you know, basketball and all sports was part of my life. I know one of the stories I think I told you once time, you're number 42, and you know who number 42 is. We all know Jackie Robinson.
I mean, well, he's the reason, him and James Worthy are the reason why.
Well, you got the number?
Yeah, well, I wore it,
Yeah, well. Well, my story with Jackie Robinson goes back to my childhood. My dad was Cub Master for a Cub Scout pack, which is boys 8, 9 years, 10 years old. And for some reason, he had one of the biggest Cub Scout packs in the world at that time. It was 12 dens, 96 guys. And this was all after the war, in late 40s. Somehow, and I don't know how my dad did it, they got Jackie Robinson to come up and visit a meeting, you know, sign autographs and the whole 9 yards. And my dad and I went to meet him at the train station, you know, and the IRT line in the Bronx. And I was kind of a naive kid at the time, and I said, "Oh, how are we going to recognize Jackie Robinson?" Obviously, the neighborhood we lived in those days the world was a lot different than it is now. So I have that memory, and I know we took a picture. But when we moved to California, my mother decided to think more important to save the Encyclopedia Britannica than my baseball cards and pictures. I never forgave her for that.
I bet she didn't know
She had no idea.
She had no idea what they'd be worth today.
Yeah.
So bring me forward to the engineering piece.
Okay.
Because that's super duper important. So you said that you knew earlier that you liked math.
Well, you know, engineering was a good start because I wanted a steady job. And the aerospace industry was just starting up at that time. So I started out at CCNY, and then later after my freshman year, my dad got transferred to Warner Brothers Studio out here. He worked for Warner Brothers for 30 years, transferred to his studio, and he gave me the option. You could stay here and continue in school. You can come with the family to California. And he gives me this option when I'm watching a football game on television between UCLA and USC and looking at all the girl cheerleaders, and I took about a nanosecond to make a decision to come out here. Anyhow, to make a long story short, I went to school, got my degree. By then, I'd given up the notion that I was ever going to be more than a weekend basketball player. And after I got out of school, I went to work for Hughes Aircraft Company. They were the primary contractor to JPL on the unmanned lunar lander. Now, that's preceded the Apollo program. The unmanned lunar lander, we had to prove we can shoot something up there and land it safely in one piece. And that it could land on the moon, that it wasn't a bunch of dust up there. We didn't know what it was. So I got a job. I was part of one of the youngest guys on the team. In engineering, you have electrical engineers, you have mechanical, everything. My training was more of a systems engineer, where somebody had to overlook the whole system. You had all the experts and everything. And because of that, I got a job on the launch team, and I wrote the procedure to launch the spacecraft to the moon. Wow. And that was in 1966. And I remember clearly, it was Memorial Day weekend. And we sent that rocket in the air, and the thing landed on the moon, and we got the first pictures ever taken on the moon 3 years before a man went to the moon. So that was kind of a highlight of my life, and I.
What's going on? I hope everyone's enjoying the podcast. Listen, I have a brand new hot honey that's getting ready to come out. That's right, you heard it right. Hot honey, Harold Lefty Williams hot honey. Listen, when flavor meets fire, legends are made, and this is what we put together. I've teamed up with Creative Fire Kiln and Kitchen, and we came up with the Honey Bee Hotness. This is amazing. Shout out to Creative Fire Kiln and Kitchen. Thank you for the opportunity to have this collab and have my own Honey Bee Hotness. For more information on this, go to honeybeehotness.com. honeybeehotness.com. Like, share, comment on this episode. Hope you're enjoying it. Now back to the show. Did you know that you'd write something like that?
Well, we hope we'd land on the moon.
No, did you know that you'd write the stuff for it?
Oh,
like you said?
Well, that was my job. We had a team of people. I was assigned part of the tasks to put the procedure together, because you have to test it before you launched it.
Right.
And it was, I was part of it. I wasn't the only one. It was a team effort, which is another good thing you always got to remember in life. Team is the best thing to do.
And I like to think that playing basketball probably helped you work with a team for something like that.
It was, going back a little bit with the basketball, that was the first organized league I ever had with my teacher in the 5th or 6th grade too. And before that, it was all we'd do our own thing, 3-on-3, a lot of that, 5-on-5, skins and shirts, as I said before. And no matter how cold it was, somebody had to do that.
Oh yeah.
So when I got I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's a pretty big accomplishment when you're a 26-year-old kid and you've been a part of putting something on the moon the first time, and it was an amazing feeling. So
take me to the place where you have an amazing upbringing, 2 parents in the home. You decide to make the move to California with your parents. You choose engineering. You are part of writing something that is so great that gets launched out of space, and you married to an amazing woman. You have a family, and then we come to this what seems to be a brick wall, but you were built to punch through it. Talk to us about where you are now with what you're dealing with, because there's so many people who need to hear how to overcome it.
Good thing. Well, business is business, and when the aerospace program slowed down after we landed on the moon in the early 1970s, we had to change professions. We were jobs. The steady job I expected never occurred. And in early 1970, there was some newfangled agency in the government called the Environmental Protection Agency, which was just created, and they were offering scholarships to get people who had industrial experience to deal with the environmental issues of the day. And I applied and was accepted to the program, which for the master's degree in environmental management at USC. I went from UCLA graduate to USC. My brother went the other way. He did his basics at USC and master's work at UCLA. So anyhow, I got my into the environmental stuff, and the first thing I did after I finished the program is there were lots of jobs available. They didn't pay a heck of a lot, but at least it was a career that I could see there was a future to. So that's kind of the first turning point in my life. Is I had to make a decision. What am I going to do? Try and stick with aerospace, or go to something that's... So I made that decision, and I planned and I executed it. And I said, no, where do I want to be? Okay, well, what options? You could go to universities to be a teacher. You could go to the government and be a government worker in the program, or you can find an opportunity in the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
I first went to the government and worked at EPA in the San Francisco regional office in the mid 70s, and came to a conclusion in my life that I didn't want to be a government employee. I had more to give to this world than being one of those. And I ran into a couple of very interesting people in the private sector. It's the teamwork. You know, they had the interesting thing was they had organizations which married all the industries in the Bay Area where I was living at the time. Mm-hmm. And every one of us had to. They were trying to figure out how to deal with all these new environmental requirements, regulations, from all different perspectives: the power industry, the computer industry, the oil industry, everything. And we had this industrial group, and they were trying to work. They were worried about some regulation, and they had a plan how to do it. And and I sat there and I shook my head and says, "I just spent 3.5 years working for the government. You ain't gonna get anywhere doing that." Mm-hmm. And there was a gentleman there from one of the oil companies in Southern California by the name of Carlton Scott, who was one of the most influential persons in my life. Mm-hmm. Dr. Scott, 2 weeks after this meeting, he calls me up. He says, it was the funniest thing. He says, you know, I really listened to what you said about all this thing, and I think you're right. And I need to get someone on my staff who knows how to deal with these things. Mm-hmm. Do you know anybody? This is the way the guy was. He was too proud. He would not come out and say, "I want you." Mm-hmm. You know, he wants you to recommend yourself. Well, actually, glad you asked. Well, actually, when I was smart enough to figure that out, and I says, if you're asking whether I'm interested, the answer is yes. He says, I thought you were that smart. Mm-hmm. And I went to work for Unical here in Los Angeles. We moved back to Los Angeles for the next 12, 13 years, and was one of a couple of deputy assistants to Dr. Scott. And it decided to move on after something else because just change was not needed for me at the time. Mm-hmm. And I continued in the environmental field, and I got into some consulting work and a lot of other things, and carried on till doing various environmental things until well into the early 2000s before I ultimately said, the rat race is over. I've had enough of this thing. I've done well. My wife has done well. Mm-hmm. And we can live fine. And we made that decision. And it worked out. It worked out. It worked out. Okay. So tell me about, let's talk about health. Right. Okay. So you go into a position where you learn, you find out, you discover something about yourself from a doctor. Can you share? Well, the health issues materialized right around the time of COVID. Mm-hmm. Went to the doctor for usual checkups, and they discovered I had bladder cancer. Mm-hmm. That was a little over 5 years ago from now. It was August. Actually, it was August of 2020. Mm-hmm. And I just said to myself, I'm not going to see the holiday season this year. That was mm-hmm. kind of the way that things were. But then I learned more than I ever wanted to know about cancer and treatment. And I developed a positive attitude. I'm going to beat this thing one way or another. I'm going to beat this. And I went and had all the treatments, and it was a journey to hell and back. If you know what I mean. They give you the chemo, it knocks you for a loop. Mm-hmm. You recover, you think you're clear, and they recommend surgery to do this or do that. And I had to make some very big decisions about how I was going to do it. And fortunately, my decision was the right one. They offered me surgery, and I said, I'm 81 years old at the time, and I'm not going to go with that. I want quality of life is what I want. That was my decision. And I guess it was the right decision for now. I never know when this is going to end, but so I got through that, and with the help of some more influential people, the teaming. But rebounding is I was a rebounder, and that was the whole thing. And another influential person who we just lost at the beginning of the year was a guy who was part of the cancer support group that I belonged to. And this guy was an amazing man. His name, uncommon name of Daniel Smith. And I have to give him a lot of credit because he's the one that helped me get the attitude I have to pull me through the whole darn thing.
I hope everyone's enjoying the show, but listen, I need for you to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel. Please do it for your boy, Harold Lefty Williams. Now back to the show. So it's easy to do, Stan, it's easy to do a push-up. It's easy to do 1, it's easy to do 2, it's easy to do 5. But when you start counting up the cost of what you've been through in your life, and then you do 100 and you got to hold that position, it begins to get tough.
Yeah.
At what point did you feel, you know what? I think it's going to be all right. At what point?
I've always felt I was going to get through it. But, you know, this disease is mean. It comes back and comes back. And I'm clear right now. Tomorrow I might not be.
But can we take a second to embrace that, what you just said? I'm clear right now.
That's right.
So let's pivot really quickly. This is your camera.
Good, I'm sure.
There's someone who is going through that now, and they're not clear yet.
Okay.
What advice would you give to that person?
Oh, that's an easy question. Number one, I'll quote Jim Valvano, if you know who who he is.
Of course.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up, because you don't know what's coming tomorrow. That's number one. Number two, you got to do 3 things every day: laugh, love, and cry. And I've done everything. Believe me, I have. And I'm losing in the third one. There's love, laugh, and cry. Don't ever give up. And I don't know. The other one will hit me in a few minutes. But there are 3 things that I used, and it's helped me get through the whole thing. And the interesting, and here I am now 5 years out, and as you know, my wife has been diagnosed with cancer too, so I'm facing another thing, and it's very difficult for her.
It's like you're out of the woods. It's like 10 steps forward, feels like it's 10 steps back. I want to say this though, you are, every time I talk to you, you're very encouraging for someone to be dealing with so much. You find a way to just uplift everyone in the room around you. That has to be credited to your parents, I would say, or someone. Who's that credited to?
I agree. I remember one thing now. My third or fourth grade teacher went to my mother and says, she said, Stanley's a very nice boy. She's the only guy that ever called me Stanley. She says, but I wish he would speak up more in class. He's very quiet, very shy, very introverted. And but when I was working with Dr. Scott at Unical, Dr. Scott was not a medical doctor. He was a PhD chemist. I wanted to make that clear because you might have misunderstood what I said about him. I learned from him how to deal with things, how to speak, how to talk, how to organize. And we did a number of presentations all over the country, and I've been involved with a lot of work with dealing with Congress, the EPA, and even a lot of congressmen and senators in my life. I've had, but I had to learn how to be a communicator. I'm not an influencer like you, but when I do something, I learn I got to. If people want to listen to me, I got to believe it myself. And I would I'm one instance I can think of. Dr. Scott and I wrote a presentation together, and we gave it in a group of seminars all across the country. One of us did it, and usually he was the one the first one since he was the boss, and then he would have a few things to do, and then he would he says, "Let's you do the next 2, okay?" So I did the next. I went up and did one. I don't remember where the hell it was. Excuse me, I shouldn't say the hell. Where it was. Where it was. I did it. And one of the other guys on the panels came up to me afterwards and says, that was the same presentation that Dr. Scott has been giving. I says, yeah, we wrote it together. He says, but it sounds completely different than you do it. Mm-hmm. Because he was a very low-key, matter-of-fact thing. And the things that would happen, like somebody had to do a nasty job, and he'd look around the staff on his thing, and he'd look at my direction, and he'd say, I think this is a job for someone with a New York attitude. And this is some of the things. I have a lot of great memories. I do not regret anything that I've done in my life. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem I've got right now is taking care of my wife.
Oh yeah. How's she doing, by the way?
We had a glimmer of hope with some of the tests. I don't think I told you that when I saw you last night. The thing that they were worried about appears not to be a problem, but we're going back next week to her oncologist, right. And we'll see what they want to do next. The interesting thing is she's not me, and she doesn't react the same, and I find it very difficult helping her. But one of the things I vowed to do when I started this, I came from my cousin's daughter who went through breast cancer at the age of 40 years old. Mm-hmm. And she says, welcome to the slash, burn, and poison group. And she says, the only thing you have to do in being a part of this group is you got to help someone else. Mm-hmm. And so that influenced my attitude.
Each one reach one.
All of them, and and that's what I do. I know a lot of people. There's so many people that need encouragement,
right,
Lefty,
right.
And somehow I developed the gift of gab to be able to do it. People tell me it's because I went up and when I went to Ireland and kissed the Blarney Stone. I don't know if you ever did that.
No, I haven't, but I've been to Ireland.
I noticed you've been to 36 countries in 50 states. I think I got you on countries, yeah. But there's one state I haven't been to.
Where is that?
North Dakota.
Really? Well,
that's the only state I haven't been in.
I mean,
nothing wrong with it.
No. You and I, we're city boys, though.
I know we're big city.
We're big. Listen, you are a pillar of strength, and I watch you day in and day out, literally, hold on. When I think I was about 12, Stan, my pastor at the time said to me, he said, "How you feeling?" I said, I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. And he looked at me and he said, people who hang fall. You better reach up and hold on. And so that stuck with me. And I think it'll stick with me for the rest of my life. So what I'd say to someone who's out there feeling like they're losing ground, so to speak, because they're hanging in there, reach up and hold on. Stan has gone through so much in his life, and to be holding on, he's holding on for him. And then as soon as he gets in the clear, he finds out he has to hold on for his wife. And sometimes it's okay not to be strong. As long as you're both not taking the same day to not be strong, yeah.
I joke right now, I need one of those computer-driven cars so when I leave my house in the morning, I can sit down behind the wheel and say, take me to Kaiser. And not have to worry about it.
And not have to worry about it. Yeah.
It was, there's so many things we can do, talk about a lot more about basketball. I keep thinking, I go back a generation before you on basketball. I remember the New York Knicks of around 1950. I can tell you who the starters were.
Oh, come on. Let me hear it.
Okay, Sweetwater Clifton, who you know who he is.
Very well.
Harry Gallatin, Carl Braun, Dick and Al McGuire. Okay. They had another one on the team named Connie Simmons. All of those guys.
Did you see the movie Sweetwater?
I don't remember if I saw that, but I remember.
So it's a Warner Brothers thing, but two of my teammates played in that.
Yeah.
Got a chance, opportunity to play.
I remember. That team never won a championship. They always got beat by. They had this.
Are you talking about that unit?
That unit.
That's what. Okay.
That unit never won a championship. They they always wound up getting beat by either a bunch of guys from Boston or that big guy from Minneapolis in the early days, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, because we're running out of time.
Sure.
Who are your top 5 influential people? Now, don't hold back from this.
Okay, I won't hold back.
Don't hold back. Rapid fire now.
Rapid fire.
Who's your top 5 most
Okay, I've
influential
already mentioned
people
3 of them
in your life? Okay, let me hear it again.
My dad.
Your dad.
There's no question of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll add my mom to that because I wouldn't be here without.
Absolutely.
I haven't told you all the stuff about my asthma as a kid, how they almost gave up on me. That's another story.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Scott, who was the director of environmental sciences at UNICAL. And the last one I would say is my friend from the cancer support group, Daniel Smith.
So the doctor, Daniel, mom, dad, that's 4.
Is that 4?
If I heard you correctly, it was mom, dad, the doctor, Daniel.
I don't remember.
I'm going to save you here so you don't sleep on the couch.
My wife.
There you go.
Oh, without her, I would be nowhere. You know?
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, and
she's a sweetheart.
It's I'm not giving up hope. I'm not giving up hope, and it's difficult, and but I was thinking the other day, when I was clear at my last test, I says, how come I got through this? And then what happened with having a good report on her yesterday, and they haven't done any treatment since she had the bad finding. And one of the guys on the group call said, Stan, do you believe in divine intervention?
Absolutely.
Now, I've never been a real religious guy, even though I'm Jewish, but I've never been a real religious guy. But it really made me sit up and think, maybe, who knows? I mean, I got through it. I didn't think I'd be here in December of 2020, but here I am. What do we know? October 2025. Hell, I'm planning for my 100th birthday.
You should. Listen, I have a brand new book that's getting ready to come out. It's called The Art of Rebounding. It's about positioning, persistence, and purpose. It's going to change your life forever. It's going to help you bounce back, and you're going to be able to reclaim your next chapter. Join the waiting list today at theartofrebounding.com. You should. Let me tell you, even with tears in your eyes, man, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm very, very proud of you. It takes true strength to do what you do. It's just, it's amazing. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to see.
And one of the things I know was, I'm amazed, and I told you this before, even before we started, I'm really proud that my granddaughter and your daughter have become really good friends.
They're like best of friends.
Yeah. One of them's going to school out here. Your daughter, my
daughter's here, and your granddaughter's in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And still stay in touch, like as if they're right next door.
It's really beautiful. It's really unusual. I'll never forget the first time they met at that meeting. And Shannon is never very person oriented, but she and Kiki they sat there for 3 hours and never shut up.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing.
It's an amazing thing, and I'm super duper excited. Listen, I'm so excited to have you on. I think that you're an example of strength. I think that everyone out there listening should definitely grab something there.
Yeah.
I think I want to have you. If someone has been diagnosed with this, what is the first thing that you recommend as it pertains to way of support? I think that's important to add.
A couple of things in a way of support. Well, first of all, you got to know who your friends are, your real friends. It will turn up. You will know who your friends are, because half the people they don't know what to say. Because I think in their mind is say, my God, I don't know how I would deal with this, and do I bring it up? And whatnot. I've always been very open about it. I've been since day one, and I think that's what's helped my attitude. It's a don't give up, don't ever give up attitude, and and I think that that's what I would advise them. And I'd say advise them the support group. We all need support.
Mm-hmm.
And the best support you can get besides your close friends and family is get in a group. I belong to a nonprofit cancer support group called
Mm-hmm.
We Spark. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No, I haven't.
They're headquartered in Sherman Oaks, and they have a men's support group. And we got about 25 guys that are all suffering one form of cancer or
Mm-hmm.
another. And we get together every Thursday afternoon for 2 hours and just do what we have to do and talk
Mm-hmm.
about our problems and issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned so much out of that. I have a niece in Boston who's a physician, and when I get my test results, I send it to her,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, did you finish med school? You know more about that stuff than I do. You learn how to read the reports.
Mm-hmm.
All the phraseology that people put in there.
Right.
And when I read Marilyn's report the other day, I just hope I'm reading it right. It's as good as I have ever had for myself.
Right, right.
I know she's got a lot of issues, but
Right.
we'll keep on. We're going to keep on. And we're not just hanging around. We're pulling up.
I want to say this to you that the Creator has the final say.
I know that.
Has the final say. God has the final say, and we just gonna keep pushing. We're going to keep positioning ourselves. We're going to keep boxing out all of the negative things, all of the thoughts or whatever.
That's right.
And then we're going to just move forward. This is not a race. It's a marathon. And I believe that you have been given the task to not only cross the finish line yourself, but to pick up and carry her through.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
All right.
I am, it's great.
Yeah.
And I know we'll continue to talk more. And I know, I got plenty of other stories from my life. My goodness, some of them are so funny that
Mm-hmm.
but they're not on point to what we're trying to accomplish here today.
No, I think this is great. I think, like I said, I may call it stand with Stan, because you're taking a stand within yourself with all your strength. Sometimes you don't always feel your strongest, but
Right.
you make. I do have to say this before we close. I was super duper proud of you to see you. I saw you one night and you were walking without your cane. I was like, boy, look at him go.
Did you notice I actually wound up getting? I was wearing my shoes last night at that meeting.
I see.
Because I had a problem. One of the problems I had, I couldn't get my shoes on. I used to have a narrow foot. Now the shoe I got is a real wide shoe. That's fine.
I'm just saying I was just happy to see that. That made my day. So we'll leave it there. But thank you so much for coming on the show.
I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate you being
Lefty.
on. It's amazing. Much love to you and the family.
Thank you.
Pretty much, I love you. Thank you for being my brother. That's it for today's episode of the Art of Rebounding. Remember, the fall isn't what defines you. It's how you rise that writes your story and writes your legacy. Whether you're rebounding from a loss or recentering your purpose or just learning how to rise again, learning how to stand, learning how to, have strength. Know this, you're not alone. You were made for more and you were built to bounce back. Until next time, keep showing up, keep positioning yourself, keep pushing with purpose, because your rebound is not just coming. I promise you, it's already in motion. Find me on social media on all platforms at Lefty Williams 42. I'm always down to hear about your comebacks. All right, until next time, I want you to know that you're going to make it. You're going to be okay. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Share with at least 5 people. Come on, I know you know at least 5 people. All right? Always remember, dare to dream.